Hey, welcome to Life in the Leadership Lane. I'm your host, Bruce Waller, where I get to talk to leaders that are making a difference in the workplace and in our community. What did they do to get started and what are they doing to stay there? And today, oh my goodness, we have a special episode. We are going to be talking about the HR Southwest conference over the next few weeks. And today I have Shirley Johnson with me today. Shirley is Assistant Director of Human Resources for Dallas County. She's also the 2022 HR Southwest Conference Director. Shirley, I'm so excited to have you on the show. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine, Bruce. Welcome. Thank you for having me.
I'm excited. We are actually live today at the Dallas HR offices. The HR Southwest Conference is coming up October the 16th through the 19th. It's powered by Dallas HR. It's also the official conference for Texas SHRM. And we're going to talk HR Southwest Conference today. In fact, Shirley, I like to start off the program reflecting on when I met my guests. And for you, I've known you for a very long time. You've been serving the Dallas HR community for many years, in particular, HR Southwest Conference.
It's been a long time, Bruce.
How about 2021? Just real quick, we had 2020. We had everybody had to pivot, and then 2021, we're able to get back on site. I thought that was a pretty good conference, didn't you?
It really was. I kind of like the idea of us having a virtual conference and then the in-person. You know, during these times, you really have to be agile and pivot whenever you need to pivot. So that was a great conference.
Agile and pivot. I love that. Hey, we're going to talk the HR Southwest Conference. As a matter of fact, the month of August is going to be focused on the HR Southwest Conference. I have some tremendous speakers coming up. Ira Wolf's going to be on, Victoria Person, Eric Bailey, and Al Como. They're all going to be sharing their story and what they're looking forward to at the conference. But today I want to talk to, well, the lady that's going to lead the conference in 2022. But before we do that, I would love to hear your story, Shirley. For those who don't know, tell us the Shirley Johnson story. How in the world did you get into HR and of course, the HR Southwest Conference?
Bruce, I was born and raised in Oklahoma, a small town in Tallahassee, southeastern Oklahoma. After graduating from high school, I moved to Oklahoma City, and I lived in Oklahoma City probably 3 or 4 years. And then me and my sister, we decided we were going to join the military. But when you decide to do something like that, it's always, one person joined and the other person doesn't. So I ended up joining and going to the military. I joined the Navy. I went to Florida. I was in Florida for 4 years. When I talked to my recruiter convinced me to go in without a designation. He said, hey, you don't want a designation, just go in and you'll have an opportunity to look around and decide on a career field. So I did that and I went in and I ended up working on the flight line launching F-18s.
Wow. Okay. I did not know that. That's fantastic.
Yes. So I spent a year doing that. I had the opportunity to go aboard the U.S. Eisenhower and the Roosevelt. After a year, I did get my YNA school, and I went to Yeoman A school, which is basically administrative. Out of A school, I had the opportunity to go to Rota, Spain.
Wow, I've never been to Spain.
Well, I ended up not going either. Being from a small town at that point, I did not know the difference between an opportunity and an obstacle.
Tell me about that.
I view that opportunity as an obstacle, so I asked not to go to Rota, Spain. And looking back, that has been my biggest regret about my military career. So now in my career, I take the time to see, is it really an opportunity or is it an obstacle?
I'm going to tell you right now, we're going to have to come back and do another podcast on opportunities and obstacles. That is incredible insight. I think we can all kind of look back at obstacles in our lives and think about how they might have been opportunities. And so I appreciate you sharing that. And by the way, thank you for your service. My
Oh, you're
grandfather
welcome.
served in the Navy back in
Mhm.
World War II. So
Okay.
that means a lot to me. And of course, you know, the Oklahoma connection. Everybody knows I'm an OU guy. So wow, well, that's fantastic. You know, it's interesting how we know each other, but yet I didn't know a lot about you, and I appreciate
Yes.
you sharing that. Well, how
Yeah.
about getting into the Dallas County? How did you get into
Okay.
HR?
Well, after I completed my tour in Florida, I never left Florida. So after I finished that, I got out of the military because what I didn't realize, you had sea duty, you had land duty, and then you went aboard a ship. So I really didn't want to do that. I got out and I utilized my GI Bill. I went back and I got my degree in management, and then I later went on to get my master's from Texas A&M in management as well. So the way I got into HR was kind of weird. I hear a lot of people say that they didn't pick HR, and I kind of understand that because I didn't pick HR. I happened to be in a park at an event, and Fina Oil and Chemical, if you remember them
I
back in
do.
the day,
Yep.
they were in the park and they had a booth. The only thing I wanted to do that day was go sign up for the raffle to get some free fuel, kind of like right about now. So I went to the booth to sign up to get some free fuel. And the recruiter there, she was like, hey, whenever we have a position open up, I'm going to give you a call. So she did reach out to me probably a couple of weeks later for a position in benefits. I did not get the position and benefits, but she called me 2 weeks later and I did get a position in employment. So that was the start of my career. And then fast forward, Fina decided to move to Houston, and I decided not to go to Houston. We were all searching around for opportunities, and I found the opportunity at the Dallas Central Appraisal District, and I worked for the appraisal district for 16 years. And with my 4 years military credit, that gave me 20 years.
Wow.
So
Okay.
then I was able to retire. And after that, I was looking for another opportunity. And I ended up going to behavioral health group. And I was the compensation of benefits for them. And I spent probably a year there and decided maybe that wasn't a good fit. And then I moved on to the Dallas County, where I am now. And I'm the assistant director at the Dallas County.
I love your story. I love everything about it. I love when you talk about opportunity,
Mhm.
of course, obstacles, and
Mhm.
and here you are. You're the HR Southwest Conference Director. I mean, little did you know back in the day,
Didn't
right?
know.
When you were trying to find your lane, as I like to
Mhm.
term, and you found it, and you have really excelled. I admire your leadership. I've watched you grow as a volunteer leader in this organization. I'm so excited for your year as director. Well, let's talk about the HR Southwest Conference. It's coming up October the 16th to the 19th. By the way, if you have not registered, you're thinking about registered, I will put the link in the show notes so you can register for the conference. The theme this year, learn, network, and grow. And my first question I want to ask you, Shirley, is like, do you remember your first conference?
I do.
What year was that?
2000.
2000. Okay, we're talking over 20 years ago. Tell me about
Yes.
what you remember.
2000, that's when I first started with the Dallas Central Appraisal District. And my manager at that time, he was really involved with Dallas HR,
Hmm.
and he encouraged me to get connected with Dallas HR. And that was the best advice ever.
I love that. Wow. And little did you know how great of a advice that was,
Mhm.
and then you got involved in. What? Tell me a little bit about what you're excited about for the 2022 conference. I think we have some pretty amazing keynotes coming up. Talk a little bit about that.
Yes, I'm really excited. Our opening keynote will be Simon Bailey.
Simon Bailey.
I've never heard Simon in person, but I did review one of his clips. And he said something that really stuck with me. He said, whenever a company hire you for a position, they are not hiring you to perform a duty. They are hiring you to release your brilliance.
Okay, let's all pause right now. And by the way, if you're listening, you need to like get your pen out, get your paper out, take some notes because this is going to be really good. I'm excited about that as well. What about your other keynote?
Okay, the closing keynote will be Melissa Majors, and she's going to talk to the attendees about inclusive leadership. And I think Melissa is going to give all the attendees some tips to take back to the workplace that they can implement immediately.
Wow, I love that. I always look forward to the keynotes. I mean, I've been attending off and on since 2005, and then really regularly since about 2000, I guess 12. So the last 10 years I've pretty much attended each year, and there have been so many incredible speakers. I remember Barbara Corcoran was really
Yes.
inspirational
Oh, yes.
for
I
me.
remember that.
Any other keynotes in the past that have been inspirational for you that you can think of offhand?
Every year they're just really inspiring for me. I think she was one of the ones that really stuck out with me as
Yeah,
well.
it's funny. She talked about the Corcoran report
Uh-huh.
and how she, how that came about. And I remember going home and starting the Waller report. Like that's inspiration. Whenever someone inspires you to act, that is great. So I'm really looking forward to our keynotes this year and super excited about that. Well, talk a little bit about like you don't put this on yourself. Like talk a little bit about your team. Like what's that been like this year as the I remember just a year ago, we were sitting before the keynote. Tony Bridwell was about to come on. And I said, hey, how's it going? And you were in a director-elect role. And you're like,
Yes.
I'm serving. I'm getting ready for my time, which is 2022. Well,
Yes.
now here you are.
Mhm.
What's that been like going through the journey as the director and talk a little bit about your team?
Wow, it's been really great. And as you know, there is a huge team. We rely on the Dallas HR staff. We have different committees that help us. One thing we did this year that's really exciting for me, we used to have the special events committee. We have consolidated 2 to 3 committees, bookstore, on-site, and special events. And this year we're going to focus on attendee experience.
Okay, you got my attention right there. Attendee experience. I love
Yes.
that.
Yes. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that we're making the conference memorable for all the attendees. From the moment that you walk into the conference to the end, we want to make sure that it's very memorable.
I love that. Absolutely love that. Hey, let me ask you a question. There's a lot of people listening right now. They're like, this HR Southwest conference, like, is that for me? I mean, it's going to be in Fort Worth. It's going to be over a 3-day period, but who needs to attend that conference or who should consider attending that conference in your opinion?
The conference has something for everyone. No matter where you are, within your career, you will find something at the conference, whether you're a leader, a generalist, whatever the case may be. We have over 100 educational sessions for everyone. We have strategy, we have development classes. If you're looking for technology, you can come to the exhibit hall, and we have 100+ vendors to help you with your technology or whatever you need in your workplace. So the conference is very good for that, in addition to the networking and the connections that you will make at conference.
I love that. And, in the past, I remember we had an app. Is there an app this year? Do you know?
Yes, we will definitely have an app. It will be by CVent. And what we typically do is we send the app out the week before conference, and that allows the attendees time to go in and look at the sessions and the speakers and decide what they want to do at conference.
Oh, that's very helpful. I'm excited about that. And I'm excited to be speaking again. I've been speaking at the conference since 2017.
Yes.
And I'm excited. I'm going to talk about energizing HR. Super, super excited about that conference.
Yes.
I love the conference. I get energized
Mhm.
attending the conference. Of course, the day before the conference starts, I serve on the Texas SHRM State Council. And of
Yes.
course, this is the official conference for the state of Texas, Texas SHRM State Conference. And I just knowing like when that weekend is here, I get so excited. And what I get excited about are the things you talk about in your theme. Learn. I
Mhm.
always get energized when I learn something. I always get energized when I'm growing, and
Yes.
I always get energized when I network. Talk a little bit about what's that theme mean to you as leader?
It means everything because I feel like learning, you never stop learning. And my favorite part is to go over there and listen to the education sessions. Every time I go and I attend the sessions, I always just get a wealth of information to bring back to my company. So I just enjoy the sessions so much.
Hey, let me ask you this. I volunteered back in 2009. You talked earlier about the special events committee, and I volunteered on that. I didn't realize how much work there was to putting on a conference. There was so many volunteers that do so much. If somebody's listening right now and just said, "Hey, that sounds pretty special," I might want to volunteer. How would they just show up to the conference and volunteer? Or how does that process work to become a volunteer?
There's a process, and we're going to have an event in September at Dallas HR. So if you're interested in volunteering, you can look on the calendar for Dallas HR and sign up to come to that event. In addition, whenever we're in conference, just come up to someone with a black shirt. We'll have black shirts on.
Mm.
Just come up to us and ask us how you can get involved.
And so, okay, so let's talk a little bit about kind of the process. So the conference is October 16th through the 19th. That's Monday, Tuesday, or Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, right? Talk a little
Yes.
bit about kind of what's that flow like. If someone just said, they're listening right now and they said, "Hey, you know what? I can't go the whole week, but I might want to go for a day." Can you
Mhm.
talk a little bit about kind of the flow from Sunday through from opening to close? What someone should expect?
Okay, on Sunday, we're going to have pre-conference and we're going to have two sessions.
Hmm?
We're going to have a morning session and an afternoon session. So if you're interested in coming to the pre-con, you can come on Sunday, and we have some good educational sessions lined up for Sunday. And one of them's my favorite.
Okay, what is the favorite?
It's moneyology, and it's going to give attendees some information that they can take back to the workplace to help their employees with their financial wellness.
Okay, so when someone says my favorite, I get like that energizes me. I was like, okay, what is it? I love how you took
Mhm.
us to the cliff there and you just left us hanging.
Uh-huh.
Moneyology. That sounds
Moneyology.
exciting.
Mhm.
And so there's a special event. There's a special event that Sunday night for
Yes, we're
attendees?
also going to have a networking event,
Okay.
and I'm kind of excited. We're doing something a little different with the networking. I don't want to give too much
Hey,
away,
I love it.
but we're going to have a networking event, and we're also going to have a Bloody Mary and Mimosa bar.
Okay, I think you got a lot of people's attention here. That is fantastic. Okay, what about Monday? What typically happens on Monday?
Monday will be the opening event.
Okay.
You will have the keynote note speaker in the beginning, and then later on that evening, we will also have networking again. So there's going to be several opportunities for networking.
That's fantastic. And
Mhm.
they'll network in the marketplace. I think in the past
Yes,
we've done that, which
yes.
I like because that really brings that inclusiveness with all
Mhm.
of the exhibitors, all of the attendees, all the
Yes,
volunteers, everyone together, right?
it
And by
does.
the way, if you're listening right now and you're a sponsor, can a sponsor still be part of the program?
Yes, you can. We are looking for sponsorships, and we do have some slots available. If you're interested, just contact Dallas HR and they will give you all the information that you need for sponsorship.
And I'll put the link in the show notes as well. If you're interested in sponsoring the conference, I'll put that in there. Just click that link and you will, we'll get you help there. And then, okay, so now we're at Tuesday. What's Tuesday typically the flow like?
Tuesday is more about sessions,
Okay.
we're just basically going to be in the exhibit hall, talking to the vendors and also attending some of the sessions. So it's more about learning and the networking on Tuesday.
Okay. And then Tuesday night networking event. And then Wednesday's the close of the conference.
Yes. And let me back up.
Okay.
On Tuesday, there's also a special event, and I've heard a lot about diamonds and denim.
Diamonds and denim. Oh my goodness. Here she goes again.
Yes,
She's taking us to the cliff here.
Diamonds and denim. So we know you're going to have your denim because we're going to be in Fort Worth. So you ladies, make sure you bring some diamonds.
Oh, that's going to be fantastic. I cannot wait for that. And then we'll close the conference on Wednesday. And Wednesday's more of like a half day, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And that's when we're going to have Melissa Majors, and she's going to talk to us about inclusive leadership. And that's going to be a really great time.
I can't wait. I'm excited. And again, the HR Southwest conference coming October the 16th to the 19th in Fort Worth. Okay, so you mentioned on Tuesday you have all of the, it's pretty much we have sessions on Monday and Tuesday and then
Yes.
Wednesday morning, of course, but Tuesday's a big day for that.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about if someone wanted to speak. I know there's probably some people listening that are thinking, I'd like to be a speaker.
Mhm.
Can they how do they become a speaker for the HR Southwest conference?
If you're interested in becoming a speaker, we typically open up that I'm going to call it enrollment period or opportunity for you to submit your proposal, and that typically starts in January. You would need to watch the Dallas HR website, and that will give you information on becoming a speaker. And what we've started doing now is we're asking potential speakers to just send us a little video because we want to see a little bit about your speaking style and just know how you present. So watch the Dallas HR website, and it will give you some additional information around the January timeframe about becoming a speaker.
Well, we always have top-notch speakers. I know this year one of the speakers being inducted, I'm going to have him next week, and that is Ira Wolf. He's going to be one of our Hall of Fame speakers. He's fantastic, by the way. I cannot wait to play his podcast recording. Hey, what about okay, so what did you I'm curious, you've been through a director-elect, now you're the director. What about this Tom Barton? We all know Tom Barton. He's a former Dallas HR president, and now he's sitting in that director-elect. What's kind of the role for that director-elect?
The director-elect, they are very instrumental in helping with the conference in the year that the director is over the conference. And they're basically just getting ready for their year, which will be the next year. Yeah, so Tom Barton, he's really great. He's been helping with the conference, and I'm really excited about next year for him.
Yeah, it's going to be great. He's fantastic. So, hey, you got a great team. I know most of the volunteers. They work so hard. They're so passionate, about the conference. And whenever you talk about the attendee experience, I know that you're going to deliver because it all starts with people.
Yes.
And you have incredible volunteers. You're an incredible leader. You have an incredible organization powering the conference. You have the state of Texas SHRM involved. And so I cannot wait. It's one of the biggest conferences of the year. Again, October 16th to the 19th. We want to encourage you to register for the conference. And as we shift over, I just want to ask real quick before we conclude with some fun questions, your experience. So here we are, you're getting close. What are you hoping when it's all said and done, what are you hoping for an outcome for your directorship?
I'm hoping that when the attendees attend this year, that they walk away from this year's conference thinking, wow, I really got a lot out of the conference. It's not the same as every other year. And they're just really satisfied with the educational experience, the learning, the networking, and the growth that they get from this year's conference.
Yeah, I love that. It's all about significance. It's all about legacy. It's all about lifting others up. We know what the HR Southwest Conference has meant to us, what it's done for us, how it's helped us. And now it's time to just share that with others so they can feel what that experience is like. And so I love everything about what you shared today. And so, hey, the last few minutes, I'd love to shift over to it's time to accelerate. And one of the questions I like to ask my guests, especially during the HR Southwest Conference Spotlight, is this is going to be in Fort Worth, Texas. What's one of your favorite cities? I mean, whenever you go to a conference, any thoughts around a favorite city?
Hmm. Well, I can tell you, I do like San Diego. I've been to San Diego several times and I always have a good time in San Diego.
Yeah, San Diego was my first SHRM conference
Mhm.
back in 2000. I think it was 2005
Mhm.
was when I attended San Diego, and that's fantastic. I love San Diego as well. I just got back from SHRM in New Orleans. It
Ooh.
was my first time to visit New Orleans, and I loved it.
Was it
I
hot?
loved it. It was so hot. So great. I just had so much fun there. Hey, let me ask you this. We've talked a lot a bit about the conference. What are you looking most forward to this year's conference? Is there one thing that you can say, I'm really looking forward to this?
Mm. There's so many different things that I like about the conference. I would say the keynote speakers.
Mm.
I just feel like we have a dynamic lineup this year, and I always get so much from the keynotes. They motivate me and just get me, just I don't know, excited about going back to the workplace. So I'm looking forward to the keynotes.
You mentioned earlier that you had a supervisor or a boss
Mhm.
that said, hey, you need to get involved.
Yes.
And you
Yes.
said, that's the best advice that I was given. And
Mhm.
I love that. I want to ask you, Shirley,
Mhm.
for the listeners, for people that watching today, what's some advice that you would give them regarding the HR Southwest conference? Any advice you can think of that you would share today?
Yes, I would definitely say make sure that you attend the Southwest conference. As an HR professional, I think it is very important to establish yourself early on as a subject matter expert. And whenever you come to the conference, there's so many educational opportunities. There's opportunities to network with other HR professionals that may be a little bit more advanced in their career, and as you go through your career, no matter where you are in your career, you may need some help. And it's always easy to have some people that you can reach out to and, just help you with your HR career.
I appreciate you sharing that.
Mm.
I know there's somebody listening right now that's very impactful for them. But I want to touch on something before we close here. And you mentioned networking. We've talked about
Mhm.
networking. That's part of the theme. Learn, network, and grow.
Mhm.
But networking is hard.
It is.
And I was just wondering, for those that are listening, that they want to do better at networking, or they want to get more connected, but they just are not quite sure how to do that. And of course, we know conferences can be, well, they can be quite daunting when you see
Mhm.
1,000 people in a marketplace and you're like, I want to meet some people. Give the listeners and the viewers maybe a couple of tips, maybe something you've used or something you've seen others use that might help them with networking.
Make sure that you attend the events. When I first started going to the conference, it was hard for me, the networking part.
Mm.
But what I didn't do is I went to the educational sessions and then I would go back to my room. Whenever there's a event, make sure that you're attending the events. And once you attend the events, you will always meet at least one person
Mm.
or make a point of meeting one person that you just walk up to and chat with. Just get to know people. The more you go to the events, the more people you meet, the easier it becomes.
I love that. Networking. It's Suzanne Myers was a guest on the podcast. She's CHRO, and she says it's the easy, hard stuff,
Mhm.
right? It's easy, but it's so hard to do. And I love that you're vulnerable and you
Mhm.
share like, hey, you know what? I went to conference, I went to my room.
Yes.
But you don't meet
yes,
anybody doing that,
yes,
do you? And it's
true.
so easy to just say, you know what? I'm just going to go over here in the corner and
Mhm.
stand. And sometimes we do. We need to go out. We need to take some calls. We need to check our emails. But when that opportunity is there, we need to take advantage of that, because at the end of the day, the more people you meet, the more people you can help.
That's
And the
true.
more people you have in your network, it's just, it can be so fulfilling and satisfying, and it makes much better. It'll make much more for the attendee experience, right?
Mhm. That is true.
Hey, what about, last question I have for you, and that is, what about, is there anything for someone that they're going to show up for the very first time
Okay.
and they, they're not sure what to do?
Mhm.
We talked about how hard networking is. Do you have like a new attendee orientation or anything like that for new attendees?
We do. We do. And whenever we send out the app with CVent, make sure you go online and see when that orientation will be. And that's another opportunity to get you acclimated to the exhibit hall and, to just show you around. And as you're going through that orientation, you can just kind of team up with someone else that's new.
I love that. I love that. You go to orientation, you meet someone there, and then all of a sudden now you're connected. So
Yes.
what a great way to start the conference. I love our conversation. I
Mhm.
cannot wait for the HR Southwest conference. I appreciate you and your leadership and everything you're doing to inspire the HR community. One of the questions I like to end the show though is I like to ask my guests. Um, the final question is probably one of my favorite questions, and I like to ask this question. Shirley, 10 years older,
Mm.
she's around the corner knocking at the door, and you're going to go answer that door. What's she going to tell you?
She's probably gonna say that you should have spent more time having fun. I don't have time for fun. It's either work, volunteering. It's kind of hard to fit in fun. So she was gonna say, you should have had a little bit more fun.
I love that. And what's funny is I'm having fun right here with you,
Uh-huh.
Shirley. I
Mhm.
appreciate you. I appreciate your wisdom and
Mhm.
perspective, and for
Mhm.
coming on the show today and just talking about the HR Southwest conference. Again, it's coming up. Fort Worth, Texas. It's going to be October the 16th to the 19th. I'll put the link in the show notes, hrsouthwestconference.com. Go check it out. All the information is there. Get registered. Come find Shirley. Tell you heard her on the podcast. You heard her talk about her military story, or some of the things she might have shared, or connect with her ahead of time. Just say, hey, I'm going to be at the conference. I'd like to meet you, or whatever the case may be. For those who want to connect with you, how is the best way that they'd be able to connect?
LinkedIn
Hmm.
or either Dallas County, Texas on Facebook.
Perfect. So I'll put those links in the show note for you so you can connect with Shirley. Again, we look forward to seeing you at the conference. We hope you've enjoyed this special segment. Again, over the next 4 weeks, we're going to be talking about the HR Southwest conference. We got some great guests on. You're going to definitely want to catch that. So, thank you. Thank you for your leadership leading the conference this year. And most importantly, I appreciate your friendship.
Mhm. Thank you, Bruce. It's been an honor.
I cannot wait to share this. I'll talk to you later.